Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. Rowpaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Joining BJ Rains today is KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust. Check him out on Twitter at KTVB Sports Guy and make sure to check out KTVB.com. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Now here's Jay Tust and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Well, greetings. Why don't I add Jay to the show there? There we go. How's it going, Jay?
Good. How are you, bud?
I'm battling a hoarse voice for a second day in a row. It's actually surprisingly somehow better today than it was yesterday, which is saying something. So we got the I've tried every remedy in the book, but I've got the warm water and lemon juice we're going to try to sip on here during the show. You might know better than me, man. You ever had no voice and had to go on live in 10 minutes? I don't know what the
I guess you just kind of have to tough it out and hope that the viewers have sympathy for you.
Yeah, I know. We had Johnny took over the live spots yesterday. I don't think you're contractually allowed to do that, so we'll push through. But yeah, I don't know. Just I had a great weekend. I had nothing to scream about because the Cardinals were terrible in Seattle, so it wasn't like I was celebrating and having all this fun at the games. But I just literally woke up yesterday and couldn't talk, and now I still can't talk. So we'll get through it the best we can. Apologize to the viewers, but wanted to get you on, obviously, for your regular Tuesday appearance and wanted to talk about a number of things. We have the NFL draft coming up. I think we'll probably focus on that Friday because that'll be, I don't think we were expecting anybody from Boise State to get picked on Thursday. So we'll have Friday to talk about if that's the day JL Skinner gets picked and Saturday and going into who else might get picked. But we're going to talk some basketball as well. We've been so much hype, so much talk about, the guys that are already here or might be coming here that I think we've kind of neglected some of the returning players a little bit when you talk about this team and kind of what their outlook is moving forward. So we'll give Chibuzo Abo, Tyson Degenhart, Max Rice their own days here down the next 3 days. But me and Johnny talked yesterday about Kobe Young and RJ Keene. And today we'll talk about Jace Whiting and Mo Sylla. But one quick NFL draft comment from you, Jay. Any thoughts, I guess, just 2 days away from the draft here about where things stand? It feels to me like Scott Matlock's stock is rising a little bit. I saw somebody had him in his top 150 draft prospects. I thought all along he'd be the next guy drafted, then didn't get invited to the combine. We kind of lost hearing about him. And I thought, okay, now he may not even get picked. Now I'm back on the train where I think he might be the second guy picked behind the other two. But how you feeling about Scott or Ojukwu or any of the other guys?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about Scott. You're talking about Daniel Jeremiah. That's who had Scott in his top 150, and I think he just released that this morning. So it definitely seems like Scott is trending in the right direction and has a chance to hear his name called at the NFL draft, which would obviously be a dream come true for him. But he has said such a professional approach to this whole draft process, and not getting invited to the NFL Combine didn't really slow him down or anything like that. If anything, maybe it lit even more of a fire under him, if that's even possible with Scott Matlock. But he looked outstanding at Pro Day. I hope he does get drafted because he certainly deserves it. And it seems like, JL is still the obvious first guy off the board, but Scott is definitely making a push right now to move up draft boards. I will say this, BJ. I'd say probably a couple of years ago, I lost a little bit of interest in all these mock drafts and everything. They're so fun for fans, and I get why. It's awesome. But at the end of the day, these people, they get paid a lot of money to just throw stuff at the wall. Like nobody's right with these things. I mean, like some of them hear a couple of little things that maybe kind of allow them to ballpark their predictions. But after like the first 3 picks or something like that, like hardly anyone is right ever. And yet we all still click, we all still read, and we are just a few days away from that not mattering anymore.
I went back in a previous world when you and I held a radio show together. I tried to make that exact same point one time, and then we met with an agent a day later or something that had heard me say that, and I don't know if you remember the conversation or not, but that's basically what I was trying to say, that not that he's full of BS, but that the only people that really know what might happen are the 30 GMs, the people making the picks. So I totally agree with you. And every time the draft comes, like, oh, who could have seen this coming? It's like another year where I wasted 5 days looking at mock drafts. Not one thing happened that was supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, like last year, who had Khalil going all the way to the 5th? I mean, maybe that wasn't too far off, but still, like, I think a lot of us thought he'd go a little earlier than that. Back in 2014, nobody had Jay Ajayi sliding as far as he did. I mean, I guess that was the 15 draft, but nobody had Jay Ajayi sliding that far. And he makes it all the way to the 5th round. Not a lot of people had Reese Odiambo going at the end of the 3rd round. So, I mean, it's just, like I said, in all honesty, he's just throwing stuff at a wall and trying to get people to click on articles and read them. And hey, I am still certainly guilty of it, but I am just less guilty than maybe I was 5 years ago or so.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, we are broadcasting from the Cutwater Spirits Mobile Studios. More than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails. You can pick yours up at your local gas station or grocery store. Let Cutwater do the work. They're pre-made. They're premium cocktails. They're phenomenal. And again, you can get like 2 for $7 at your local gas station. So check them out. Cutwater Spirits, sponsors of our studios. Rowpaint.com. They're scheduling now. The weather is finally warming up, so you can schedule that spring concrete coating. They got to get the temp over 50 degrees for the concrete, but 5 times stronger than epoxy, and they can do the one-day install. Rowpaint.com. Check them out. Lithia Ford of Boise. They'll buy your used vehicle. One of our major sponsors are sponsoring the hole-in-one contest. I have not confirmed yet, though, if anyone else will be eligible, because once Jay makes his hole-in-one, I've yet to find out if there's a second vehicle, if somebody else gets one or not. But they are providing a Bronco Sport brand new for the golf tournament next week. And we do have a cool announcement, actually. We'll go ahead and make today about that here in a little bit, Jay. But Lithia Ford of Boise, they'll buy your used vehicle. Check them out, lithiafordboise.com. And Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com, the best in mobile e-branch online banking. Do it more than 550,000 Idahoans have done to make the switch. Idaho Central Credit Union. Man, my voice is terrible, Jay. I apologize. I'm doing that reading. I'm like, people are probably flipping off the channel. But for the golf tournament, Jay, by the way, we can officially announce that BNN has legally, through the INF, I'm butchering the little website where you can go on for businesses and do NIL deals. We will have Riley Smith. We will have DJ Schramm. We will have Alexander Tubner. We will have Keanohi Kaniho. And who's my 5th big one that I'm missing? I shouldn't say that because we got 9 players, and I'm not trying to make any of the others. But there are nine Boise State football players coming out to play in the Bronco Nation News golf tournament. Oh, Jonah Dalmas, our friend, was actually the first to accept, and he was the one I forgot. So we're going to have those guys out there. Maddox Madsen is participating. Colt Fulton, Ben Ford, and Luke Voorhees are the 9 players, Jay. So in the afternoon session, if you sign up for the afternoon session, you're going to get to maybe play alongside some Boise State football players for the tournament.
Sounds like fun. Those are some heavy hitters too in terms of personality, guys that are super likable. So
apparently DJ Schramm's quite the golfer too.
DJ?
That's what I heard, or he at least enjoys playing. So if you're interested in playing with some of the football players, June 2nd, we have 1 or 2 registration spots, maybe open for the morning, but right now we're trying to fill the afternoon. So if you want to play in the afternoon, you can still come for the lunch. Before you play, you still get the Q&A. You can hear Jay up there on stage. You can hear Coach Rice. We got a lot going on beforehand. Tyson Degenhart and Riley Smith will be doing a little Q&A up on stage as well. So a lot going on before the round, but the afternoon round is when you'll tee off. But it's a 1:30 tee off for the afternoon session, lunch around 12:30. So we'd love to have you. Bronco Nation News golf tournament. You can register at bronconationnews.com. Will there be a closest to the pin? Yes, there. I don't know about second shot or long putt challenges, but we will have a closest to the pin, and we will have a long drive. And Jay, I was joking with Mike Prater about it, and it kind of picked up some steam. So I believe that we will have a Leon Rice, Jay Tust, Mike Prater, and a couple others putting challenge in front of all of the participants right before we tee off for the first hole. So hope you need to get there early and work on your putting.
I might get there late.
You now have a chance to putt better than Degenhardt or Leon or Burns. We'll get Jay Tust out there on the putting green. I told Prater it was finally his chance to battle Leon Rice out there, and now we're going to add Jay Tust to the mix as well.
Gosh, I've never actually openly rooted for Leon before. I'm just kidding, Prater.
It's June 2nd. I might have said next week. It's next month, basically. June, about 6 weeks away. June 2nd is the golf tournament. We would love to have everybody come on out. We got some spots left. Sign up at bronconationnews.com. Okay, so let's start with Mo Sylla. He was a guy, Jay, that, as again, we're reviewing a basketball season from last year, and I think everyone just assumed he was gone, assumed he was moving on from the team, not going to be on the team this season. And it sounds like he is now. There's not a lot of 6'11", 250-pound centers out there to go get. And I think they feel like there is some upside with Mo Sylla. And, last year he missed the whole summer, wasn't able to do much. Had a couple big games. He had some big buckets in the St. Louis game, a couple big plays in the New Mexico game. And some people forget he actually started overtime of the game at New Mexico. But before I get your thoughts on Mo Sylla, here's Leon Rice talking about Mo Sylla.
Nail on the head, because you look at the opportunities he got when he did get them, because we started small, so we had 3 bigs on the bench, and it became so difficult to even figure out who it was going to be, because you'd watch practice. There was just so many moving parts, so probably each one of them didn't get the chance they deserved or the consistency of it. Maybe Lucas got more than those guys did because he'd been here and played for 3 years, a little bit more, and that maybe that was it. But every time, Mo helped us win some games last year. That game at St. Louis jumps out at me, and when you're going to face guys like Okoye, well, now you do have another guy like that can, and your bigs are going to get in foul trouble. That's basketball, and so now you have a great and like I said, we are a development program, and like what you said, we didn't have him last summer, so he didn't get all that time. He's new, he's speaking our language now. It takes an adjustment time, and that kid's a worker. He is a worker, and I love his attitude. He's going to graduate from here. There's so many positives to Mo that I'm pleased with what I see with him, and. We're going to, it takes depth. That you look at those teams that played in the championship game. Not one guy on those teams played more than 30 minutes a game. And they were playing 9 guys, sometimes 10. And that's you need that depth over the course of a long, long season. And, it's going to be exciting to, and then we haven't even talked, sometimes there's injuries. You saw it this year. We were a different team when we had an injury to a starting player. That was pretty consistent.
Well, there he is, Leon Rice, talking about Mo Sylla. Your thoughts on Mo?
I think that maybe Mo's growth comes from comfort and consistency as well, maybe this offseason. He started his career at Florida Southwestern, transferred to Detroit Mercy, then was there for 1 season before transferring to Boise State last season. And so now he has some continuity with both his players, teammates, and his coaching staff. So maybe that will allow him to maybe really take the next step. I think the thing that, probably stands out for me about Mo this year too is that maybe his role is a little bit more defined going into the season. Last year we were wondering if maybe he could crack the starting lineup and compete with Milner. And then it turns out neither of those guys are in the starting lineup, just a few games into the season. So I think that, going into this year, we know his role. His role is to be, an 8th or 9th guy off the bench in all likelihood to provide some minutes in order for, whoever Boise State does start, whether it be Cam Martin or Omar Stanley to get some rest. And I don't think that they're going to be asking, Mo to go out and play 20 minutes a night in any type of regularity next season.
No, probably not. And like I said, he was kind of the guy everyone just assumed would be gone, but there's some other circumstances there and things that play into that. You mentioned him going up to Detroit Mercy. There was also a break in there where he literally had to go get a regular job. He's got 15 brothers and sisters, and he had to help his mom, like basically pay for them. So he actually just quit basketball and worked a job during COVID to help with his mom's family, and then had some problems getting eligible at Detroit Mercy because of the classes carrying over, and that's what led to him not playing much there. So do you feel there is more in the tank, more untapped potential with Mo?
Probably, because there almost has to be, right? I don't see how the situation necessarily gets worse in terms of, what he can contribute to the team. He'll be older. As Leon said, the way that Leon coined it was speaking our language now. And that just means, Boise State's terminology. I think it's more common when it's like, in football, when you're picking up a new offensive playbook, right? And you're barking out plays and everything like that takes time to digest and comprehend and then execute. And eventually you feel comfortable with it. You don't really have to think about it. You just go. And so I think that maybe that's a position that Mo might be inching closer and closer to with the Boise State men's basketball team as he gets his first full offseason with the Broncos and approaches his second year with Boise State.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what I thought. At times, I thought he did some things defensively.
He did.
Defensively, especially in a couple of block shots. So again, you ask him to come in there for 5-6 minutes here and there.
I think you showed glimpses. What you're saying, BJ, like you just had a couple little flashes there that make you go like, man, he could contribute. Like he definitely could contribute. I think it's just about finding that consistency, and more than anything, too. I mean, I know that Leon and the coaching staff, they say that they have confidence in all their players, and I don't doubt that one bit. But when push comes to shove, and you need a stop or you need a bucket or whatever that might need, that the team needs that night, the coaching staff has to have confidence in you in those moments. You're not going to get lost on a switch or anything like that. Like you're going to be able to handle the moment, handle what's happening, and execute in order to help your team win. And so we'll see if he can inch closer to that coming up in, this next season.
Perry says, I like hearing he's a hard worker. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the starting block for anybody that wants to improve, right? Like you got to work hard. And if you're willing to do that, then you got a chance.
Derek wants to know when the first basketball practice is open to the media. Usually in June sometime when they come back from break.
Yeah, the guys got to get on campus first usually before that happens. And that's usually when they start to arrive. The Roddy Andersons and, really the rest, Cam Martin, Omar Stanley, the rest of the transfers that will be coming in, and the true freshmen for that matter, too.
Hey, since I can't talk, I'm going to let Joe Buck talk for the next 60 seconds here. New advertiser, new concept, new thing we're dealing with. I wish I could tell you more about it, but I got such a horrible voice. Yesterday, I did a bad job explaining it on the first day just because I can't talk, and I'm kind of in the same boat, but here's a new opportunity for you. You looking for that perfect Mother's Day gift? Well, I got something for you right here. It's called Sound Story. Oh, that's the wrong graphic. How about that? I put the still graphic on the screen instead of playing the video, Jay. I thought you were going to talk about it here for the next minute, but no, here is Joe Buck talking about Sound Story.
Mother's Day is coming up, and I have the perfect gift for you to give your mom this year. It's Sound Story. Hi, this is Joe Buck. Every year we try to come up with the best gift to show our moms how much we appreciate everything they've sacrificed and all they have done for our families. With Sound Story, you can give a gift that mom will love and the whole family will love as well. Sound Story gives you and your family, brothers, sisters, and or moms, grandchildren, whatever, the chance to tell stories of your childhood, your memories of the lessons your mom taught you, and the love she has given you. Sound Story is an hour-long interview conducted in person or via Zoom by your choice of BJ Rains, John Mallory, Mike Prater, or David McKenzie, and it couldn't be easier to purchase. Just go to mysoundstory.com, click on gift certificates, and present your mom with a gift on Mother's Day that she will treasure. And right now, all you have to do is enter promo code BNN15 to save 15% on your Mother's Day Sound Story gift card. Just go to mysoundstory.com and enter promo code BNN15 for 15% off your Mother's Day gift that she and your family will never forget.
All right, Jay, it's a pretty cool concept. I'll try to talk about it later in the week when I have more of a voice, but you can do it for your mom. Your mom or your dad can go in and be the one that's interviewed, and you can save their kind of life story. Or in the case of a Mother's Day gift, maybe, me and my brother would be the ones that were interviewed talking about my mom, and then we present it to her on Mother's Day so she can hear about what we think of her and her story. So pretty cool concept. We got Johnny and Prater involved and David McKenzie and working to add to the team here in the future. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Excited about it. New advertiser, but also a company that I'm involved with. It's going in some other markets around the country, and they're bringing it to Boise, and we're going to see what happens. So if you're looking for a Mother's Day gift, go check out mysoundstory.com, and we would love to sit down with you. We got an office space. We got a nice professional interview, professional audio equipment. We won't do it till I get my voice back, and you'll be able to get a full interview that your family can keep forever with your family. So you can check that out at mysoundstory.com. Jace Whiting, Jay, another guy. There were rumors lately about him maybe transferring because they were talking about Dad and Dawson Baker, which isn't happening, by the way. There's I think the roster, it sounds like, as they decided it's better to just go with what they have than try to upset the apple cart by maybe adding one more player. But Jace Whiting was never leaving. There were rumors he was never leaving. He likes it here. He likes his role. From my understanding is, he's even going to expand his role. Obviously, he kind of was facilitating to some of the other guys as a freshman last year. I think you're going to see him be more of an offensive threat himself, or at least he hopes to be next year. But how do you look back at Jace Whiting? And someone talked about, I think Derek said, the summer practices, Jay. I think you were with us. We went to a summer practice, and Leon let us watch, and we're talking. Leon will walk over, what do you guys think? And talk to us on the side. And I couldn't have been more wrong about Jace Whiting. And Leon's admitted that basically everybody was, himself included. Coming off a mission, hadn't played in 2 years. I figured he'd redshirt, but he ended up playing and having a pretty big role.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Jace that kind of stood out to me too is that, like, he would kind of put up these modest stat lines, early in the season, but you could still feel his impact when he was on the court, to kind of push beyond whatever the numbers suggested he contributed, right? And so he had his ups and his downs, as you would expect any true freshman, to experience. And I remind you, he was obviously coming off, 2 years of not really playing a ton of basketball because he was out on his mission. Played a little bit out there, but not a ton, and certainly not at least at the level that he's playing at now, right? And so I feel like he, reacclimated himself to college basketball at an extremely quick pace, and he contributed beyond what I think, a lot of people thought he would last year. That being said, there were moments when Marcus Shaver Jr. couldn't go, and Jace's number was called on to play more significant minutes, and you could definitely tell there's a difference when Marcus Shaver Jr. is available for this men's basketball team versus Jace Whiting. I think Jace has a bright future. He clearly has a really high basketball IQ. He didn't make a ton of mistakes when he was on the court, although at times it did feel like the moment was a little big, I guess is the way that I would phrase that. So I think that he has a bright future as a contributor for this Boise State men's basketball team, and he's another guy that's going to make them better, during the 2023-24 season for sure.
Yeah, I can think of the San Diego State game. You had trouble at times getting across half court. There were some other games, but again, it's not necessarily a diss on Jace. He was a freshman that a lot of people thought wouldn't be playing this year, and he's trying to, fill in for a fifth-year senior on one of the biggest stages in college basketball, and in that game in particular against a team that ended up playing for it all. So
let's not forget the team that he was playing. I mean, one of the best defensive teams in the country. There are a number of metrics that will back that up. Viejas Arena, one of the toughest venues to play at in the country. As you just mentioned, the Aztecs played for the national championship this year. So there are a lot of people with tons of experience that wanted to handle that situation very well. And that just was kind of one of the moments, though, that seemed a little bit big for Jace. He played 16 minutes. I don't think he scored. He had 4 turnovers. And as you mentioned, getting the ball up over half court at times was a little bit of a struggle for him.
But, as I said, I remember thinking, okay, he's not going to play. And I remember in the exhibition game, I think it was the exhibition game, he did some things, and luckily Jordan Kay was the one that took the fall for us, because he said somehow, well, is he going to redshirt? And Leon's like, heck no, he's not redshirting. And it was kind of like, well, he came in over the summer and did enough to show like he deserves to be the backup point guard and play. In fairness, looking at it now, I don't know who the backup point guard would have been. It turned out it kind of had to be him. But I don't think that, can be overstated what he did after not really playing organized basketball for 2 years, Jay, having to kind of shoot on his own once a week when they give him an hour while he's on his mission, to come back and be ready in one summer to prove that by the start of the season, it wasn't like he took the summer to get back in shape and then, earned his playing time in the season. He showed up ready to go and somehow was able to prove from the start he deserved to be out there, and he got valuable minutes that are going to help him moving forward.
Yeah, and I think that you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, mentioned this earlier. Like, I think he's going to become more of an offensive threat. I mean, Jace can shoot it. It's all a confidence thing, right? Like, if you look at, his season shooting percentage from three, he shot almost 33%. He also didn't make he didn't make a single three, from the month of February on, right? So like he shot it at an okay clip early, but not necessarily late. And so I just think that's an area where he's going to continue to grow and have more confidence. And there were times too, man, like you could tell he's also just like a natural facilitator. So even when he gets the ball, he's maybe looking to do that. And, maybe he catches it and he's got some space. And I think next year you see him, just have confidence, step into it and pull the trigger because he knows that he's a good 3-point shooter. And so
was it the second San Diego State game or the New Mexico game? There was a game in Boise where in the second half he made a couple big plays. I remember a big driving layup he had. I think he ended up having a couple big plays down the stretch in some of those key games.
Yeah, that might have been the New Mexico game. I feel like he had like a couple layups or something like that, or maybe made a nice pass as well. Gosh, I'm trying to think back, man.
It was like
it's been forever ago now.
Or something. Yeah, I remember a couple he had later in the season. Let's hear Leon Rice, and this is also about Kobe Young. So Kobe and Jace from Leon Rice.
Yeah. Well, I had a long-term plan for Kobe that, we talked about when we recruited him, and long-term plan includes improvement every year. And you've seen it every year, him get better, and he needs to make a jump because this program's competitive, and that makes you better when you're around a bunch of good players that'll make it tough to get on the floor, because then when you get on the floor you've earned it. So it takes a lot of work, a lot of hours, a lot of self-motivation. We're not going to drag you to the gym to make you better. You got to want it, and it's got to be intrinsic. And Kobe's made big strides in that, I think. And, he's got an athleticism that's unique. He brings a skill of being able to guard and move his feet. That's the thing. Everyone sets your lineup and your minutes and nobody had Jace in our lineup last year, including myself. And he was a night in, night out guy. He earned it. So there's always going to be those surprises every year. And it's funny because everyone tries to, we've even talked about that. Like, who do you think your surprises are? I can make good educated guesses, and a lot of times I'm about probably 50% on those guesses. Like, Jace was coming off a mission last year, hadn't played basketball for 2 years, and what he did was really, really, really impressive. You talk about starting at the bottom and moving up. He just day after day after day just competed his tail off, and the toughness that he showed and the grit and the work ethic. Never underestimate a guy that does that. That's what I've learned.
And do we think the role will be any different this year, Jay, as we wrap this up? I mean, it seems like he's going to basically have the exact same role, be the backup for Roddy Anderson. But maybe he's, a little more productive when he's out there in those reserve minutes.
Yeah, that's what I think. And I think that you also feel more confident probably playing him next year, that he's got a year under his belt. But I think his role is going to be very similar, maybe expanded just a little bit, but pretty similar minutes-wise to what he saw this year. I guess the thing about Jace too is, like, we saw him play the point at times this last year and allow Marcus Shaver Jr. to get off the ball. So, Roddy Anderson, I know he's wasn't necessarily an elite shooter, his true freshman year, although he did get really hot late in the season shooting from three. But if that's something that they feel comfortable with, and they can get Roddy off the ball and allow him to maybe be a little bit more of a scorer while they let Jace run the point. So I just think that you look at the versatility or the potential versatility of this lineup now, and all of a sudden, Boise State just isn't throwing their starting five out there regardless of the situation and saying this is what we got. now they can kind of move things around. I mean, we talked about this earlier. Maybe Degenhart now goes to the 4 or even the 3, and you have Omar Stanley and Cam Martin on the floor at the same time, and Jace playing the point, Roddy getting off the ball, and there is definitely an opportunity here for there to be more of a chess match with Boise State and the rotations they use next year than maybe there was this last year.
Hey, shout out to the sponsors that I neglected due to my voice: Ridley's Family Markets, Bauscher Real Estate, the Blue and Orange Store, Transportation Compliance Service, United Commercial Insurance, and Boise Dentistry Co. Hope you will support the sponsors. And sponsors, I apologize for not giving you your due to the voice. We'll make that up tomorrow. Jay, programming note for the rest of the week: Chibuzo Abo scheduled to join me live tomorrow. Max Rice scheduled to join live, I believe, on Thursday, and then you and I scheduled on Friday to have Tyson Degenhart on live as well. So the next 3 days, the big 3, Nate Lowry hooking us up with some live interviews as we kind of review their season and look ahead with them individually. So looking forward to that the next couple of days. Friday, we will also discuss the NFL draft and what's going on there. And if you had to go right now, Jay, are you still saying JL Skinner's a day 2 pick or no?
Yeah, day 2. I'd say day 2.
So you still
that's just my prerogative. I don't exactly know.
I remember was it I think it was Reese Odiambo one year where I'm like turning off my laptop and I get a text from his agent, just says Seahawks. I'm like, oh no. So it's 9:30 and I had 10 minutes to get a story done.
I think he was literally the last pick of day 2 that year.
He was.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't really know. That's just my guess. It will be cool when JL hears his name called, though, because the last safety Boise State had drafted, I believe, was Darian Thompson in 2016. So
there you go.
It's been a few years since Boise State has had a safety, get taken in the NFL draft. If anything, though, I'm just going to ask Tyson Degenhart for his advice on what's happening, because I remember I think he was on with Johnny and Prater, and he said that San Diego State was going to beat Alabama, and I'm like, Tyson, come on, man, like, what are we doing here? This is obviously Mountain West bias. And sure enough, he was right. So I'll just ask Tyson on Friday what he thinks, and that's probably going to change my opinion or swing my vote one way or the other. I'm just going to ask him.
Well, Boise State fans, BNN fans that like hearing Tyson talk about a lot of topics are maybe in store for a fun summer. I'll just say that. We got some cool things in the works down the line, but he will join us Friday, Jay, so get your questions ready. Hey, appreciate you as always, man. We'll be in touch, and go check out KTVB. Go follow Jay on Twitter at KTVB Sports Guy, all that good stuff. And as always, Jay, sorry we battled through it today, man, but we appreciate it.
We got it.
Well, we got through it. I don't know if we got it. We got through it, but for the 51 of you watching right now, still, I apologize for the voice, and I promise you, all day yesterday, I've been trying everything. Got up early today. Didn't even have my energy drink yet because I heard that caffeine is bad for your vocal cords. So I haven't even had any caffeine yet today. So it's been a rough one, but we'll hopefully tomorrow. It better be, because I'm by myself tomorrow. So we'll find out tomorrow. But Jay, appreciate it. Thanks everybody for checking us out. Go support the sponsors, and we'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com.